So when right now I'm looking at close reading the directions, the title, the little description below, and the first paragraph. The first thing I'm doing when I'm taking a test is the important thing is to read the directions. So the directions say, read the passage below and answer the questions that follow. So I'm gonna read the directions, but I'm also gonna go and quickly skim what the questions are asking me. I might not actually skim the answer choices, but just what the question's asking me so I can know what to look out for. So that's the first annotation I did. Read the directions and make sure you check out the questions. Next, I see in the title of the text, it says Life of the Castle from the Story of the Middle Ages, 1906 by Samuel B. Harding. This word from lets me know that Life of the Castle is from a larger story. So I'm gonna go ahead and take note and say that, yep, Life of the Castle is from a larger story, so I'd take annotations from that, and the larger story that it's from is called Story of the Middle Ages in 1906. And something I might think about, I'm like, maybe this text is gonna be in Old English because it's from 1906. That might be a thought that I have. So if I were on a test, in person or digitally, maybe I had a notebook, I'd say 1906 might have Old English in this text, okay? Next, I would see Samuel B. Harding, and I'd write in my annotations, this is the author, right? Because right after a byline, you're always gonna find the author. Next, I see it says, Samuel B. Harding provides a simplified history of life during the Middle Ages. This excerpt focuses on life of the nobles. So where it says provides a simplified history of life during the Middle Ages, I think this is letting me know that the text at large, Story of the Middle Ages, is about the history of the Middle Ages. But what I'm reading below, since it says this excerpt, is about life focusing on the nobles. So it's important to pay attention to details. What we have in the description is what the story is about as a whole. And then the next part tells us that this excerpt, which is Life of the Castle, is focusing on the nobles. So I would take note of that in my annotations, that this focus on the nobles could be part of my central idea. Next, I'm looking at paragraph 1. Well, first of all, because it's my first paragraph, I'm gonna assume that the author might give me an overview of what we're talking about, or even give me like a hook, something to draw me in. Maybe the author will build the setting. Those are some notes I would take in my annotations. So I see first sentence, it was there that the people found refuge from the attacks of the Northmen and Hungarians. So if I'm close reading and I'm thinking about this, I would say it was there. Well, I probably write in my margins, where is there? So I'd want to be looking out for what are they talking about? Where's there? It says that the people found refuge from the attacks of the Northmen. Well, I would probably write an annotation of what people? Maybe the nobles, because that's what I know that this text is going to be about. Is it the nobles and other people? So those are, again, things that I'm thinking about, things I'm writing in the margin. And when you're taking a test, you just want to kind of do it really quickly. You don't want to take too long. Next, I see it was from the castles that the Crusaders set out for the Holy Land. Okay, it was from the castles. So I'm thinking, okay, I think I found my where it said there, where it's there. I think it might be the castle. So that's a note I'd have in my annotations. And then chivalry was born and flourished. So I'm going to pause at that part. Chivalry was born and flourished. Well, okay, this is probably a word you're going to see and you're like, I recognize this word. I don't exactly remember where. Well, I know that the word chivalry in general has to do with being a high class and being like polite, right, in our modern day context. But from my background knowledge, I know that chivalry has to also do with like the social class in the Middle Ages. So maybe this has to do with someone who's from a higher class, maybe knights or nobles. So it's something I want to think about, and that's something I'd write in my margins or annotate digitally, which I've done right here. Okay, next we have at their gates, tournaments, jousts, and other nightly festivals took place, and in their halls, the wandering singers. Okay, so again, at their gates, I'm thinking it's the gate of the castle. Mostly in castles, they're nobles. So what's happening there? Okay, tournaments and jousts and festivals. So I wrote a note in my annotations that I feel like maybe these people lived a lavish life or a dynamic life or an interesting life, right, with a lot going on. And then the very last note of the first paragraph is that the wandering singers who were building up a new literature found the readiest welcome and most eager and appreciative listeners. So these singers had appreciative listeners, and the fact that the listeners are plural, and I'm thinking maybe there was an audience that the singers had, maybe the castle is a place where a lot of people come by. And those are my annotations and my thoughts for just this part of the close read. And I would then continue reading on the text and do the same process, taking notes, jotting down my questions, jotting down vocab words that I'm unsure of, and so on.